live from the new sports betting capital of the world.
You might be from Texas, but I'm from New Jersey.
Benny Ricciardi is here to break down the day's betting board for you.
Let's go, Jerry. Go!
Taking a first look at the day's bets, it's time for the FTN Betting Show.
Welcome to the FTN Betscast for Thursday, June 30th here at FTN Bets. Sponsored by our good friends over at Sleeper. Sleeper is the fastest growing fantasy platform today with millions of players, and now you could win on Sleeper by playing in their new over-under game. It's super simple to play. So first, in any sport, you're going to choose two or more players that you like and pick whether they're going to go over or under their listed total. So, for example, today in baseball, it could be the number of hits. It could be the number of strikeouts, the number of runs a guy's going to score, total bases. And then you're going to pick an amount of money that you want to enter into that contest. And if you pick correctly, you can win anywhere from 2 times your money all the way up to 20 times your money if you go 5 out of 5 and get them all correct. But the main reason why I'm excited about this over-under game on Sleeper, it is the only app where I can join in my buddy's contest and we can all play together. It has a built-in group chat where I can see what you're playing. You can see what I'm playing. We could all copy the guy that won 3 days in a row. And it's insanely fun when everybody in your group chat is writing it out together and rooting for the same things. So stop what you're doing. Download the Sleeper app now to play in the new over-under game. Have some fun with your friends and make a little bit of money in the process. On your mobile phone, you can join our listener group on Sleeper by going to sleeper.com/FTNbets. And Sleeper will automatically match your first deposit up to $100. So again, you're going to go to sleeper.com/FTNbets. It's down in the description of this podcast, and you'll get a $100 match on that first deposit. Terms and conditions do apply, so make sure you see Sleeper's terms of use for the details. Today is a getaway day in MLB, so we don't have a full slate of games, but we do have enough games here to talk about. There is one early game, Minnesota and Cleveland at 1 o'clock. Chris Archer, Shane Bieber, the two pitchers on the mound for that one. It's going to be a really good pitching matchup in that game. So I didn't really love any of the props there. I didn't love any of the pitcher props. And because I think it's going to be a kind of a pitcher's duel with two pretty good pitchers on the mound, although Bieber is better than Archer by a wide margin at this point in their careers in my book. I really didn't want to take any of the hitters here. So I didn't wind up with anything for the 1 o'clock game, which is fine because you know what? It's early in the day anyway. It's a lot better if we just wait till the 6 o'clock game. So we have a lot more time to see how everything plays out. And that is what we're going to concentrate on here for the Betscast here today. So let's take a look at that first 6 o'clock game, which is going to be the Atlanta Braves going up against the Philadelphia Phillies. Let's see. We got Ian Anderson on the mound for the Braves. 4.60 ERA, 1.45 WHIP for him this year. He's given up 4 or more runs in 5 of the last 7 games. I actually thought I would have a lot more Phillies on my list here of guys that I was interested in. Phillies hitters on the offense going against Anderson. But for some reason, I didn't find a lot of value on those guys. There's 1 or 2. The one guy I like the most is Bryson Stott, Phillies second baseman. Minus 140 on FanDuel for him to record a hit. Over 0.5 hits on Sleeper is a good play over there, considering that it's minus 140 is the payout for it over on FanDuel. It's like a 58% probability of happening. So I do like Bryson Stott, Philadelphia Phillies second baseman for over 0.5 hits. So to record a hit basically is what he is at minus 140 on FanDuel. So over 0.5 hits to record a hit, basically the same thing there. I like the odds on that one there. And again, FanDuel, a very sharp book. So if they have this at minus 140, gives me a lot of faith in it as well. The other thing I like in this game is going to be the pitcher for the Phillies, which is Aaron Nola. Nola's been really good this year. He's got a sub-3 ERA. He's got a WHIP of just 0.90. So that's phenomenal. Let's see, 109 strikeouts in 96 innings. So I think that's a little over 10 Ks per 9. That's obviously very good as well. And the thing that I like about him is the earned runs. I like under 2.5 earned runs here for Aaron Nola today. It's minus 130 on DraftKings, minus 135 on MGM. I think this is a good one that we could use over on the Sleeper app as well. Under 2.5 earned runs, Aaron Nola, minus 130, minus 135, somewhere in that like 57% range on the implied probability there. So I like Aaron Nola under 2.5 runs. I like Bryson Stott to record a hit. So over 0.5 hits. Those are my two favorite plays in this Braves and Phillies game. The Phillies are a big favorite in this game. Minus 150 on DraftKings is the best price we can play them at over there. If you're looking to play the Braves side of this game, plus 135 on PointsBet is the best place you can get that. But again, I like the Phillies, and I do think that at minus 150, I even think we have some value there on the Phillies. I wouldn't mind playing them at minus 150 on the money line here today with our Nola on the hill. Next game up is going to be the New York Yankees against the Houston Astros. Luis Severino versus Luis Garcia is the pitching matchup that we have here. The Yankees. I'm sorry. The Yankees on the road are favored. Minus 121 is the lowest price I could find. You can get that over on Unibet and Sugar House. Minus 125, minus 130 on the major books that are out there in the online market. As for the Houston Astros, DraftKings and FanDuel both have them at plus 110. They're plus money on every book that we partner with here, but plus 110 is the best payout. FanDuel and DraftKings have those. Severino, very good this year too. 3.38 ERA, 1.07 WHIP, just shy of 11 strikeouts per 9 innings. That is the reason why I don't have any Astros bats up there. Luis Severino, after being hurt, seems like he's fully back right now. He's pitching very well, and he's been a huge addition to the New York Yankees here with him being healthy and playing very well. Let's see. Luis Garcia for the Astros also has not been bad. He's got a sub-4 ERA. He's got a WHIP that's just over 1. It's like 1.05, I think, here. He's averaging about a K per inning so far on the year. I actually don't mind him on FanDuel for over 5.5 Ks. Like I said, he's been averaging about a K per inning. He's going up against the Yankees team that, yes, they do mash, but they also strike out quite a bit as well. So you can get over 4.5 Ks is where this opened. That's been bid up where it still is, all the way up to like minus 165, minus 167 on books like BetMGM and Caesars. FanDuel actually raised it to 5.5 Ks, which I don't mind because I have them projected for a little over 6 strikeouts anyway at 6.2. So 5.5 Ks at even money on FanDuel, I think, is a decent bet. And I would rather take that than lay the minus 165, minus 167 you're being asked to lay for the over 4.5 strikeouts there. So Luis Garcia, over 5.5 Ks, even money. I like that on FanDuel. Would not play it on Sleeper, though. Stay away from it over there. The only thing I do like on the Sleeper app in this Yankees-Astros game is going to be the Anthony Rizzo over 0.5 runs scored, left-handed bat going up against a right-handed pitcher. He's hit righties well his entire career. And one of the other reasons why I really like this, I'm getting a good payout on it. It's plus 112 for Anthony Rizzo to score a run on Sugar House, Bet Rivers, and Unibet. It's plus 100 on MGM, plus 102 on Caesars. So you're getting 10 to 12 basis points better of a price if you look over at that Sugar House, Bet Rivers, Unibet situation there. So I do like Anthony Rizzo over 0.5 runs. As a matter of fact, now that I think about it, though, I like this better on the sports books at like Sugar House, Bet Rivers, or Unibet than I do on the Sleeper app. We have some better plays for the Sleeper app that we'll talk about here in a minute. One of those plays is in the next game here, which is the Milwaukee Brewers. I almost said the Milwaukee Bucks. The Milwaukee Brewers against the Pittsburgh Pirates here. Jason Alexander on the mound against JT Brewbreaker here. Alexander only goes about 5 innings pitched, but in 4 of those 5 starts, he's given up 2 earned runs or less. He is a guy with a low K per 9 for the Brewers here. I think he's only about like 4 Ks per 9 if I'm doing my math right here. So that's obviously not very good. But again, if the guy is inducing a lot of weak ground balls, maybe it doesn't matter as much. I would think that regression hits with that fact that he's been very good in most of his starts here. A guy that has low strikeout ability tends to find himself getting in trouble every once in a while if the stuff's not working. So just keep that in mind with Alexander here. Milwaukee is the favorite in this game. They are a minus 122 favorite on FanDuel, which is the lowest price. They're minus 125 to minus 130 everywhere else. JT Brewbreak, God, say that 5 times fast. JT Brewbaker is the guy on the mound for the Pittsburgh Pirates here. 4+ ERA for him, 1.45 WHIP, about a K per inning. I do like him for over 4.5 Ks here today. It's minus 135 on DK, minus 139 on Caesars. I actually would rather play this over on the Sleeper app. I think that's where you get the best value for something like this. So JT Brewbaker over on the strikeouts at 4.5. A couple unders that I'm interested in this game. ONeil Cruz, the big prospect that everybody's so in love with right now. He's hitting 211 right now. He's 2 for his last 16. Hasn't had a single in 5 games. So I like him for under 0.5 singles here. Again, the guy does have some power, so maybe he does make contact. But if he does, it could be a home run. He could drive one deep into the outfield with that, sick exit velocity we've been seeing off of his bat. And if he gets a double or a home run as his one hit today, well, then he's not going to get the over 0.5 singles. Again, he hasn't had a single in 5 straight games. 3 of the last 5 games, he hasn't even had a hit. The other 2 games, he was like 1 for 2 and 1 for 4, I think, or something like that. So 2 for his last 16, not really hitting the ball all that phenomenal. I like the under 0.5 singles for ONeil Cruz. The other under I like is on the Milwaukee side here, and that's going to be one of my favorite plays of the day, which is under 1.5 total bases for Rowdy Tellez. Now, if this game was in Milwaukee, maybe I'd switch this around, but Pittsburgh, pitcher-friendly ballpark here. Tellez is a guy who never really been a huge fan of. He's got some power, but he's kind of more of a home run or a strikeout kind of guy. Minus 140 on DraftKings, minus 152 on Caesars for him to go under that 1.5 total bases. I really, really like this one a lot. I think it's probably going to be one of my plays on the sleeper play of the day here with Rowdy Tellez under 1.5 total bases. Next game up, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers taking on Tampa Bay Buccaneers. See, this is the problem when you're doing football content in the morning and then football content at night and baseball content in the morning. The Tampa Bay Rays are taking on the Toronto Blue Jays here. Rasmussen versus Kikuchi is the pitching matchup here. Kikuchi has been really bad, 5+ ERA for him. I think his whip is like 1.6. So obviously this is a guy who's giving up a lot of base runners, and that's leading to a bunch of runs. Rasmussen is another guy who's not a stud, and even more so than not being a stud, he's making his first start coming off the DL after pitching in the minors. So don't know how deep into this game he's going to go, have zero idea how effective he's going to be. It's very different when you're pitching the minor league hitters than when you're pitching the major league hitters. So, it's also funny when you look at the sports books, the books have been slow to post any props for this game here. Here's all I'll say for this game. I don't really have any particular plays to give you guys right now, but you have one pitcher who's been getting lit up. You have another one who's coming back from a rehab assignment off the DL. I love all the overs in this game. I want the overs on the price. I want the overs on a lot of these hitters. I think if you're betting a lot of overs in this game for the hitters and for the scoring, I think that's probably the way to do it. You want to stay away from the pitchers. You want to avoid a lot of the unders for the hitters. That's probably the way to look at this Tampa Bay and Toronto game. Like I said, the books don't have a lot of numbers out there, so I can't even give you guys, here's where the numbers are sitting at the moment. There just really isn't a lot to talk about with this Tampa Bay Toronto game. So the next game up is going to be the Cincinnati Reds taking on the Chicago Cubs. We got Graham Ashcraft here going up for the Cincinnati Reds, 3.27 ERA, 1.09 whip, 6 strikeouts, 6 Ks per 9, which is not great. But the kid's not been horrible so far this year. He's going up against Kyle Hendricks. Now, Hendricks spun a gem in his last start. He went 7 innings, gave up 0 earned runs. But honestly, this has not been a very good season here for Kyle Hendricks. Before that game, he was actually getting rocked. I mean, his numbers are bad enough, but if you take out that 7-inning, complete game shutout, well, not complete game, but the 7.1 inning shutout that he just had, his numbers would actually be even worse when you look at like his ERA and whip here. So Hendricks has been a good pitcher for a really long time, but I mean, again, that has to change at some point, right? So anyway, I like Hendricks over 5.5 hits here today. It's minus 148 on FanDuel, one of the sharpest books out there. So I really like Hendricks over 5.5 hits as one of our plays on Sleeper here today. I think that's a really good place to go over and take that number. Another thing I like is Wilson Contreras over 1.5 total bases. 138 on DraftKings, 140 on BetMGM. So 58% probability of happening there. Definitely something that we want to be interested in. Again, over on the Sleeper app. We like to play these 140, 150 things on Sleeper app and kind of avoid them when we're looking at the sports books. The stuff we want on the sports books is when it's like, minus 105 and then anything at like plus money that we think is more than 50% likely to happen. That's where we're getting the value there. On the Sleeper app, though, we don't mind if we're taking these things that are minus 140, minus 145 on the sports books, because the implied probability at minus 140, minus 145 is like, again, 57, 58, 60%, somewhere in that range. And those are the things you want. Again, if it's something 60% likely to happen and we got to pick two things and put them together, you pick two of them and put them together. And now you got a 30, two things that are 60% likely to happen. That means that there's 6 out of 10 chances. So that's 36 out of 100 or 36%. And again, if you're getting a plus 200 payout, that's really what you should be getting for 33%. So that's how we get our edge there. When we can find these things that are 57, 58, 59, 60%, then we have an edge on the payout on the sports books. And that's why we like using the sleeper app, because it gives us a much better payout on basically the same thing that we would have been betting over on some of the books here. And it's also great for those of you who live in states that don't have sports betting legalized. Like, again, I'm in New Jersey, so we can, we have basically everybody, it's like the line from Hamilton, right? Everything's legal in New Jersey. That's pretty much the way it is right now. But some states don't have everything like that legal. So if you happen to be traveling, or if you happen to live in one of those other states, check out the sleeper app, because it is a way for you to play some player props, even if you don't have access to the sports books that we talk about on a lot of the other stuff that we do on the website over here today. So anyway, there is one more play in the Cincinnati-Chicago game that I'm interested in, and it's actually on the Cincinnati side. So I like Hendricks to give up more than 5.5 hits. I like Wilson Contreras over 1.5 total bases. And I like Tommy Pham over 0.5 singles. It's only minus 125 on DraftKings, minus 130 on BetMGM. So it's not as big a favorite as some of the other ones there. But again, like I said, Kyle Hendricks, who's a guy that I have liked for a very, very long time. I thought he was a great pitcher, much better real life pitcher than fantasy pitcher, because he doesn't have the big flashy strikeout numbers, but has always been a guy that's been able to limit damage and get outs. He just hasn't really looked all that great this year. Maybe last game was the game that's going to be the beginning of his turnaround. More likely, though, the way I kind of look at it is it's just one of those games that was kind of like a blip on the radar. So I'm going to need to see him do it more than once before I realize that, or before I believe that Kyle Hendricks is all the way back to being the guy that he used to be when he was at the top of his game. Next game up is going to be the Oakland Athletics against the Seattle Mariners. Logan Gilbert for Seattle on the mound. Gilbert's been very good. He's got like a ERA below 2.5. He's got a whip below 1.10. He's got a K per inning this year. He's going up against a kid named Adrian Martinez, who's making his second start. It's weird. There are no Oakland props that are listed on Sleeper today. So I don't know if that has something to do with Martinez or just not wanting to play against Gilbert. And there are very few of them listed on the books here today either. So it's kind of like that Tampa Bay and Toronto game. There are a couple, though, and the one that has stood out to me is going to be J.P. Crawford. I like J.P. Crawford to go over 0.5 singles in this game. Minus 130 on DraftKings, minus 135 on BetMGM there. Crawford is more of a singles hitter than a guy who's going to give you a ton of power. And again, I kind of like the matchup a little bit. We don't know how long this kid's going to go, Martinez. My guess is probably not that deep into the game. So you're probably going to get him for a couple innings and then a lot of the Oakland bullpen there. So maybe they mix and match a little bit, but it is what it is. I like J.P. Crawford to go over 0.5 singles in this one. And that brings us to the last game that we haven't talked about yet, which is going to be the San Diego Padres taking on the Los Angeles Dodgers. San Diego with Joe Musgrove on the mound. Musgrove has been phenomenal this year. 2.12 ERA, 0.95 whip, about a strikeout per inning. Now, he did get bombed in his last game. And I mention this not to be like, oh, yeah, see, the chinks are off the armor and all that. I mention it because I think it was his 12th start of the year or so. And in all the other starts so far this year, he's basically given up like 0 or 1 runs. I think he had one start where he gave up 2 runs or so. His ERA before giving up, he just gave up 6 runs in the last game in 6 innings. His ERA before that was like 1.2 or something, just absolutely ridiculous. He was one of the best pitchers. He had been one of the most dominant pitchers in baseball up to that point. So I can excuse one bad start. Just like I said with Kyle Hendricks, like, yes, it's concerning that it was the last start, and we want to make sure that, nothing is wrong physically with Joe Musgrove that's going to cause him to kind of, have another really bad outing like that. But at the same point in time, this is a guy who has been dominant this year. So I like Joe Musgrove. I like him. Let's see. What was the one that I liked here? Oh, the strikeouts. Over 5.5 strikeouts for him. It's minus 140 on BetMGM. It's minus 150 or higher on every other online sports book right now. So MGM is the low at minus 140. I don't mind. I don't really want to take the 140, but I don't mind it. But I love this over on the Sleeper app. So Joe Musgrove over 5.5 Ks. Probably my favorite play today over on Sleeper. The only other thing I'm really looking at here is Jake Cronenworth, the San Diego second baseman. Mitch White is the guy who's going to be starting for the Dodgers. He is filling in for Andrew Heaney, who is missing another start here. White is not likely to go much past 5 if he even goes 5 at all, which means you're probably going to get White for maybe 1 to 2 rotations and then through the lineup. And then you're probably going to see the bullpen for the last 4 or 5 innings here in this game. So I really didn't want to take anything with Mitch White there. I wasn't really a huge fan of taking the Dodgers guys against Musgrove, but I do like Jake Cronenworth, the San Diego second baseman. Actually, what I should say is I dislike Jake Cronenworth because I took him to go under 0.5 runs. The under 0.5 runs is one of the better payouts that we've seen here today. Minus 145 on DraftKings, BetMGM, and Caesars. I think Unibet and Bet Rivers also have it as well. But again, minus 145, DraftKings, MGM, and Caesars is the best price out there in the market. So definitely something that I would be looking to play here. Jake Cronenworth under 0.5 runs. So there you go. That wraps it up for the breakdown of all the games here today. I did want to mention we do have the early bird special going, and it's only going to be going up until July 4th. So if you guys want to get into FTN Daily to get all of the daily stuff for football season, FTN Fantasy to get all the stuff for your fantasy football drafts, or FTN Bets to get all the betting stuff for not only football season, but the rest of MLB season, the rest of, all the other seasons that are going on right now between tennis and golf and MMA and everything else that we offer over here at FTN Bets. Make sure to get over there and sign up now. If you're signing up for FTN Fantasy, I think the early bird special is where you can get in. You can use promo code Benny on any of these sites. That is BENNY, and you save 20% off the price of any of our packages here. Now, before we sign off, I do want to give the sleeper play of the day here. And my sleeper play of the day is going to center around 2 pitchers. One of them is going to be Joe Musgrove going over 5.5 strikeouts. Talked about this one in depth. Minus 140 BetMGM, minus 150 on the rest of the sports books we work with. That's like a 65% likelihood to happen. Really, really like Joe Musgrove over 5.5 strikeouts here today on Sleeper. And then the thing I'm going to link him together to is our boy Kyle Hendricks. Like I said, I'm not sold that Hendricks, after one good start, is fixed and completely back to normal here. 5.5 hits is the number for Hendricks. Over the 5.5 hits, minus 148 on FanDuel. Very sharp book out there. FanDuel has it at minus 148. You're talking a 60-something% probability of happening. You link that together with the Musgrove one, also a 60+% probability of happening. You're going to get a value play that is giving you a better chance to cash for 2 times your money than you would be getting if you put this exact same bet in on any of the sports books. And remember, if you go down to the description and you click on the link down there that says sleeper.com/FTNbets, the other thing that you're going to be is eligible for the $100 deposit bonus match. So you could put in $100, end up with $200 to play with, put it on Musgrove over 5.5 strikeouts, put it on Kyle Hendricks to give up over 5.5 hits. If both of those things hit, you turn your $100 that you deposited into $600, and now you have a little bankroll to play with over on Sleeper for the rest of the baseball season heading into football. And that is my tip of the day here for you over on Sleeper. So this is Benny Ricciardi signing off for today's edition of the FTN Betscast here on Thursday, June 30th at FTN Bets. Sponsored by our good friends at Sleeper. Good luck today, everybody.
Live from the new sports betting capital of the world.
You might be from Texas, but I'm from New Jersey.